Hey guys, welcome back to another impressions video, and today I'm gonna talk about none other than Xenoblade Chronicles 3D for the new Nintendo 3DS. And I'm gonna do a little bit something different than usual. This game was released not too long ago, but I haven't finished yet. I did put a fair amount of time into the 3DS version, but I did beat the Wii version when it came out in 2012. And as some of you guys may know, I'm a huge fan of the original release on the Wii. So I'm gonna use my, expertise on beating the Wii version of the game and combine that with my experience and my time with the new 3DS version of the game, and that way I'll be able to tell you guys some of the differences and what are some of the cool things about the new 3D version, and what are some of the cool and the pros and cons of each version, basically. Now let's start a little bit with my story with Xenoblade. Obviously, as we all know, here in North America, Xenoblade Chronicles was part of the Operation Rainfall, which was this basically petition by fans that really wanted to have the game localized here in the Western region. And reason being, when this game came out in Japan, it got a lot of praise. It didn't necessarily sell great. It sold pretty well, but it was the reviews and the people that imported the game that had nothing but good things to say about the game. So a lot of people wanted to bring, they wanted to bring not only Xenoblade but also two other titles, The Last Story and Pandora's Towers, into the Western regions. And this was the most critically acclaimed of the three games, which is why I'm assuming it got a released first and foremost before the other two games. But when this got announced towards the end of the Wii's life cycle, I was pretty excited actually, because I kept hearing from people that had played the the Japanese or the European version, for that matter, because the game was released in Europe, I believe, also. So people kept saying how great this game was, and it was. Some people went ahead and said that this is one of the best RPGs ever made. Period. A lot of reviewers, a lot of fans of the genre, they all seem to be pretty excited about the game. So when it was finally announced that Nintendo of America was going to bring this via their website and GameStop, I went ahead and pre-ordered the game through GameStop, obviously. Even though I'm not the biggest RPG fan out there, I thought it was, I would make a statement and, support the idea of having more games localized, because I do think that Nintendo sometimes kind of falls short in that regard. Sometimes they publish and release games that look and sound interesting, but they never make it over here to North America. So I thought, let's support the idea and see if in the future they'll improve in that regard. So I got this on day one, and as you guys can probably see here, I got the art book that came with the game via GameStop, and obviously I have the vanilla version of Xenoblade Chronicles, which I think later on they did a reprint. GameStop did, and all of a sudden they found more copies. That was what they claimed, but it was confirmed, I believe, that they actually had a reprint of these games, which is good. It's very good actually, because this game being an exclusive, there was a shortage of Xenoblade Chronicles. I would say 6 to 8 months after the release of the game. People were saying this game is great, and all of a sudden the people that have not purchased the game, they all went out to buy the game, and all of a sudden the game was sold out. And this game was going for insane prices on eBay, like $100, $120. And I even made a video about it. So if you guys dig back in my video section, you'll find a video that I titled "Is Xenoblade Chronicles the New Earthbound?" because it was really crazy how fast the price of Xenoblade for the Wii was escalating. So I'm getting a little bit off topic. I know this is a little bit of my background with Xenoblade. Obviously, I got the game on release day, and it took me a while to finish the game, because as you guys know, I'm very intimidated by long RPGs, and Xenoblade Chronicles is definitely one of those games that will test your endurance, if you want to call it that, because it's a beast of a game. If you play it really quick with only a few side quests, maybe you can finish the game within maybe 60 to 70 hours. But you'll find yourself enjoying, in my opinion, a lot of the side quests in the game. So you're looking at easily 70 to 80 hours just to beat the game in a fair amount of side quests. And then, of course, you have, if you're a completionist, forget about it. You're gonna be hooked to this game for, I would say, 180 to 200 hours if you want to fully complete the entire game. Because there's just so much content in Xenoblade Chronicles that it's just an overwhelming RPG in that regard. So, like I said, I was a little bit scared. I was a little bit skeptical about going into Xenoblade because personally I prefer shorter RPGs or shorter games for that matter. Because for a game like Xenoblade Chronicles, where it takes 80 hours to complete, the way that I look at it is I have a huge backlog of games, and if I can play a 10-hour game, whether it's an action game or an adventure game or a platformer, I can beat 10 hours games within the 80 hours that only one game would take me. Now, of course, with a game like Xenoblade Chronicles, it was a pleasure for me to invest 80 hours of my free time into this game. But sometimes, when you start or you play other RPGs that are not as engaging, that time feels like a little bit like a waste, especially if you spend all that time learning the combat system, getting into the story. So, like I said, I'm very skeptical when it comes to long RPGs. I really want to make sure that I want to have a good time with those RPGs. So, with Xenoblade Chronicles, I kind of rolled the dice, and I'm glad it paid off. And I'm really glad Operation Rainfall worked out, because this is one of my favorite, not only RPGs, but for favorite games of all time. It really captivated me in a way that very few games do. And so now we have obviously the Wii version and the new 3DS version. That it's interesting how Nintendo re-released this game. It gives me hope for the series, because it's almost like Nintendo wants to make this not a mainstream series, but they're giving the series importance, which in my opinion is a good thing. With the release of the new 3DS version, with the release of the Shulk amiibo, and now with the upcoming Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I don't really know the extent of how much the story is going to be related to the first game, but it's kind of cool to see how Nintendo is treating Xenoblade as its own like franchise, maybe in a way. So here's hoping that one day we get to see, well, in my opinion, another Wii U HD port maybe, because that would have been phenomenal to see this game get some kind of HD treatment, in my opinion. But without further ado, let's get into the game itself. I know this may be a little bit of a long video, but after all, it's a long game, and it's a game that I really like, and I really like to talk about games that I really like. So here, why is Xenoblade Chronicles such a great game? Why do people praise this game so much? Why is it considered one of the best RPGs of all time? And to me, the answer boils down to the following. This game combines, it's a combination of excellence in every single regard of the game. This game has excellent graphics for being a Wii game, that is. This game has an excellent soundtrack, just fantastic work by Yoko Shimomura, which, if you guys are into RPGs, you know who I'm talking about. She also worked on Street Fighter, on the Street Fighter soundtrack, so she has a lot of iconic songs out there in several music or video game music out there. And so Yoko Shimomura's soundtrack is fantastic. The graphics are great. The story is awesome. The character development is amazing. The combat system is very intuitive, very addictive once you get the hang of it. Side quests are fun to do. The length of the game, even though it's a longish type of game, it's perfect for what it is. The story just the story is entertaining for the entire amount of the game, whether it takes you 70 hours, 80 hours, 90 hours, 100 hours. you'll be engaged to the story. So it's a combination of all those things, you know, excellent graphics, excellent character development, excellent combat system, excellent soundtrack, excellent everything, that, you know, everything comes down into one package, and here you have a masterpiece. And obviously it's very hard for an RPG to do all those things right, because RPGs are longer type of games that you know, it's a really hit and miss sometimes. You may play an RPG that has a good story and good characters, but the combat system may not be as good. For example, one example that I can think really quick, for me personally, Ni no Kuni looks amazing. It has obviously that Studio Ghibli look, but the combat system, I'm not a pretty big fan of that game. So that's just a quick example. It's really hard to find an RPG that hit all the notes in the right way, and Xenoblade Chronicles does that in an excellent way. In my opinion, obviously, there are some people out there that may not think that this is one of the best RPGs of all time, but there's a consensus out there that a lot of the people that are into the genre, into JRPGs, they seem to think that this is definitely one of the finest ever released. So, and I tend to agree with them. Now, let's talk a little bit about the story. I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously. What I like about Xenoblade Chronicles is that it starts in a very simple manner. It's basically the story of war between two opposing races. One of them are the you know, they live in the Bionis, and the other race, they live on the Mechonis. It's basically humans and nature versus technology and basically machines. The story of the game starts with the tale of these two giant beings, these two giant titans that in the, you know, centuries ago, they fought one another, and they fought one another to death, basically. And you get to, you know, the game fast forwards to the present day, and then you have all these people living in these two giant titans, which is something crazy to think about. And you know, it's a story about war, obviously, between the people that live on the Bionis, which the Bionis represents nature, you know, just the bioorganisms, normal, regular life, if you will. And then you have the Mechonis representing technology, machinery, and it's an everlasting war between these two, you know, types of you know, beings. So the game starts like that, and it starts with a theme of war, but the theme of war develops into other areas as the game progresses. You'll find themes of things such as love, things such as friendship, social disparity and inequality as you progress through the game, religion, just a little bit of everything, really, which is really fantastic. And as you get towards the end of the game, again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the story, it's always interesting in the game. There's always something that's about to happen, and when that thing happens, something else opens up. So you really want to go and work to the next area just to see what happens. You really want to make progress in the game to see what's going to happen in the story. And once that one thing happens, something else opens up, and the story keeps going at a very nice pace, and it has you're on the edge of your seat. And as far as the entire of the story, let me just say that towards the end of the game, it gets really crazy. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but let me just say that Xenoblade Chronicles has one of my favorite ending / last parts of a video game, just because of all the craziness and the things that happen. It's a little bit of a convoluted story. It's a little bit of a complex story. Sometimes you have to pause the game and, you know, think about what the hell is going on. But it's a beautiful story in a beautiful universe that, again, touches themes such as war, social inequality, love, friendship, religion, and I can go on talking about the story forever. So, but I don't want to spoil anything. Basically, the story is a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Now, graphics. This is where I'm going to establish a little bit of a comparison between the Wii and the new 3DS version. And unfortunately, for those of you that, you know, bought a new 3DS to experience the game, I'm gonna have to say that the graphics are not very good on the new 3DS version. Basically, they had to tone down the graphics in order for the game to run properly. Now the performance is pretty good. For the most part, the game runs at a steady frame rate. There are some drop downs in frame rate during hectic battles and things like that, but for the most part, the 3DS version, performance-wise, does a pretty impressive job. But graphically, the game took a hit in the textures and in the character models, and it's a little bit unfortunate because even though you play the game on a small screen, you can still see those the downgrade in graphical fidelity, which is a little bit of a shame. So if you guys have the means to play this on either system, by all means, please go with the Wii version, because another thing that the new 3DS version fails to comply with is the grandiosity of the environment. When you first get, and this is early in the game, when you first get to the Gaur Plains, the Bioni's Leg, which is this area with vast nature. You have hills and just plains with grass. It's just a beautiful, beautiful region in the game that when I first got there on the Wii version, I was amazed by how vast this environment was. And you can literally go, if you see a mountain all the way in the background, you can literally get there by running, and it'll take you a while obviously, but you can explore basically every nook and cranny of this vast region. The 3DS version doesn't, the small screen on the 3DS doesn't do that thing justice, in my opinion. You don't see that grandiosity of the environment, and it's a little bit unfortunate. Not to say that you'll get to experience it, but on a lower scale, which in my opinion it's a negative thing, right? So that's about the graphics. Like I said, Wii version has the upper hand obviously here. It runs better, better textures, better high quality. With that being said, Nintendo, please next time release a Wii U HD port. I'll buy it, for the third time, even though it's the same game. But it'll be interesting to see some kind of remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it. I'll be down for that. Now the soundtrack, again, I'm not going to go too much into detail. It's fantastic. That's all you need to know. Yoko Shimomura. There is also this other girl that composed some of the most amazing songs in here in Xenoblade Chronicle. I think her last name is Kiyota. I forgot her name, but I don't think she worked on any other major games as far as I'm concerned, but the song for Satral Marsh, which is this fantastic area in the game, is just haunting and just a beautiful melody, to the point where I have the Xenoblade soundtrack on my cloud, Google Music Cloud, and I listen to it every now and then, whether I'm at work or at home. It's just a fantastic soundtrack that it has a lot of memorable tunes that range from really slow pace to orchestrated pieces to like fast and steady metal rock. It's fantastic, courtesy of Ace Plus. Some of the battle songs, when you're facing bosses and everything, are really great in this game. So yeah, and then the main theme, obviously, it's almost like a ritual for me. Every time I start the game, I have to listen to that main theme for at least, I would say, a minute, because it's such a beautiful theme with the background, with the Monado sword, on the background here. I'm gonna show you guys. This is basically where the opening screen is just fantastic with an amazing song. I just love it. I can never get tired of that. But yeah, soundtrack 10 out of 10 again. And then the combat system, another important thing in RPGs. It's a little bit, it has an MMO flair to it. Some people compare this to Final Fantasy 12. I really like the combat system because it tests your micromanagement skills. You basically have to juggle between your auto attacks with your art skills and attacks. You have basically these things that are like special attacks that have a cooldown period. So you may have like a healing power and you can heal your party members, and after that you have to wait a little bit before you can reuse that same art again. So you have to be really good at organizing your battle strategy, and it's a very, even though the concept is simple, it's kind of like an MMO-ish type of battle system with auto attacks and using the arts. It has a lot more going in for the game. As you guys can probably guess, the main weapon in this game for Shulk, which is the main character, is the Monado Sword, which is this basically ancient weapon that can slay the mechons, and it basically has hidden powers where it allows you to see the near future. So this applies to the combat system, where you may see an important attack from like a boss enemy or just a regular enemy into your party members, and you have the option, or you have the ability, to basically reshape the future and prevent that attack from the enemy to be performed onto your party members or yourself. So very, very interesting small touches that are thrown into the combat system to keep it fresh. And obviously you have, you know, the party members that at first it's just Shulk and Rhine and Fiora, and as you progress through the game you meet more people, and they all have their different abilities and types of combat. The game, you know, you have your classes, if you want to call it that. Your best friend in the game, Rhine, he's basically the tank, so he can draw all the aggro. You know, all the enemies can attack him, and while they do so, you can kind of like formulate your attack based on that. And then you have other party members that specialize in like ether attacks, which is kind of like the magic attacks. Other party members that specialize in healing, and at the most you can have 3 party members fighting at the same time. So you have to kind of think through it. For some of the boss battles in the game, you have to like think who you're gonna use, who's gonna be you know, the best option for you to use, and things like that. And obviously the leveling system allows you to not only level up your character and its statistics, such as, you know, health and all that, but it allows you to distribute points for their arts. And you also gain this ability called affinity, which basically establishes the relationship between each of the party members. And it's important to kind of like rotate your party members and see and raise the affinity between characters. That way you have a more balanced combat system. It's obviously more complex than that, but you know, if I talk about the combat system, I'm gonna be here for another hour just talking about that. Just a very interesting, there are some things that are a little more complex, such as crafting gems. You can craft gems and put those gems into your armor or weaponry, and you know, to improve their statistics. You can also do skills trees, which is a very complex thing in which you can basically share the abilities between one party member to the other. You can complement, for example, Shulk is not a very physical character, but he can take some of the skills from Rhine and incorporate those skills into Shulk's repertoire. So a somewhat simple battle system on the surface, but it gets very complex once you learn all the things going on for the combat system. The progression in the game is fantastic. Like I said, the environments are pretty varied. This world of the Bionis, where you start the game, is just very fun to explore. To think that you're on top of a Titan's body, basically, is just phenomenal. And it has a lot of interesting places to explore, and I can't really delve into all the sceneries that you explore in the game, because I'll be entering spoiler territory, obviously. But rest assured that the environments in this game are fantastic. Now, as far as the side quests, I really enjoyed how Xenoblade Chronicles implements the side quests as opposed to other RPGs out there. Basically, if you guys are playing this game for the first time, when you see an exclamation mark on top of an NPC character, just go and talk to him. That means he has a side quest for you. Accept every side quest. Don't be afraid. Don't think that, you know, I'm not gonna have time to do this, or I'm not gonna have time to do that, because most of the side quests in Xenoblade are dynamically integrated already into the game. Some guy may ask you, hey, can you go and slay three types of this monster? So by accepting that side quest, naturally through the game you're gonna face those enemies anyway, and you're gonna get experience and experience and points for completing that side quest. So if you see an exclamation mark on top of an NPC, just read the characteristic of the side quest and accept everything, because most of the side quests will happen like organically. You don't have to do anything. And doing side quests is very important to raise your level, especially if you don't want to grind towards the end of the game. Doing a fair number of side quests is highly recommended. Now, as far as grinding, I personally did not have to do a whole lot of grinding, but at the same time, I did a lot of the side quests. And it's very interesting how some side quests are very simple, such as, hey, can you get me this item? Can you go and kill 2 of these monsters? But some side quests are really, really not complex, but they're deep, and like they have several parts to it. Like there's this side quest where you basically have to rebuild the city, and in order to do that, you have to bring all these materials. And in order to find all those materials, you basically have to do it throughout the entirety of the game. So you may finish the game and not finish this side quest at all. So you're gonna have to go back after you finish the game and kind of get those materials and to see how this village kind of like rebuilds, it's really cool. It's very well implemented, and again, it adds a layer of complexity and differentiates from the simple side quests to like the most complex ones. You'll find a little bit of everything in that regard. Let's see, what else can we talk about? 3DS version, let's talk a little bit about the pros of this version. I know I'm getting a little bit offhand here talking about the overall thing, but in reality, the 3DS version is really cool because you can save at any time, and the way the game is, I guess, made, it really lends itself to be a handheld game, if you think about it, because the way the save system in this game works is basically a save state. You can basically stop at any time, just go to your inventory and save, and almost like a save state. So you can save at any time. You can play this on your new 3DS for like 10, 20, 30 minutes, save your progress, and then move on, and the game will save. So it's the nature of the game lends itself to be a handheld or portable game, so that's a good thing. Amiibo support, I have here my Shulk amiibo figurine, which unfortunately he's one of the rare amiibos, which is kind of sucks. The good news though is that his use in the 3DS version is trivial at best. Basically, the new 3DS version has this collection section in the menu where you can unlock new music, new character models. From a fan perspective, this is a really cool thing. So basically what the Shulk amiibo allows you to do is you can use your amiibo every day to get 3 tokens, and you can use those tokens to buy new music and new character models for your collection. It's kind of like a museum option where you can listen to music from the game and look at the character models, read a little bit about their personalities and things like that. So again, trivial at best, the amiibo functionality. And there are other means to get tokens. You can buy them through your play coins that you get by walking with your 3DS, or you can get more coins or tokens via the Street Pass feature. So if you don't have a Shulk amiibo, no damage done. You can still get all those features in place by other means. So that's another, I guess, new thing from the 3DS version. You have this collection menu where you can see listen to music and see all the character models and things like that. And basically, overall, Wii version, if you guys have not played this game, highly recommended. Go for this version. If you have a new 3DS and you're excited about having this game on a handheld device, it's a very good option as well. You're gonna miss a little bit of those details. You're gonna miss a little bit about you're gonna get a little bit of a lower graphical fidelity, but you're gonna have that advantage of playing the game whenever you want and just pausing the game or putting the game on sleep mode. And either way, you cannot go wrong. If you guys have not played Xenoblade Chronicles, do it. If you guys like RPGs, you must do it. If you don't like RPGs, still I highly recommend you try Xenoblade Chronicles. It's not there's a lot of things going on as far as story, the combat system, the party members, the crafting, the gems, the affinity system. There's a lot of complexity in the game, but everything is very well explained. Everything is very well laid out for you. So if you guys are not into RPGs, don't feel overwhelmed. Give this game a shot. I think you will like the game. If the game feels like a little bit of a slow start, give the game a shot, because it takes a little bit to get used to it. It may have like a slow start to it. 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 hours where you guys are going to be confused about the battle system, about how everything works in the game. But once you're past that 5 to 8 hours, initial 8 hours, I think you're going to be in for a fantastic experience. So I cannot think of anything else at the moment. I'm sure there's a lot of more things that I can cover about Xenoblade Chronicles. It's a fantastic RPG that I really enjoyed. It was my game of the year back in 2012 when the game came out, and I'm very excited, obviously, for Xenoblade Chronicles X, the upcoming game for the Wii U, which I don't really know how much the game is going to be related to these games right here. Hopefully there's some kind of link to them, but we'll see. The game so far looks amazing, but I don't really see a big connection other than the name. They're using the Xenoblade name, and other than the fact that Shulk was in that very first trailer when they announced Xenoblade Chronicles X, which at the time was only called X. So I think it was Shulk. It looked a lot like him. So maybe we're gonna find out more when the game gets released, obviously. But for now, Xenoblade Chronicles Wii U, not Wii U, but Wii version, new 3DS version. You guys cannot go wrong with this RPG. So that's it for now. Let me know in the comments if you guys are Xenoblade fans. How do you feel about the game? If you guys have picked up the new 3DS version, let me know your thoughts. And that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all later.